Hello, divine creations, divine marvels, children of God. Thank you so much for taking the time to drop by this video. I'm grateful to have this opportunity to share the teachings of a very interesting man named Bruno Groening. To anyone who's new, a warm, very warm welcome. I'm going to post a link that gives a little more information about Bruno Groening and his teachings. There you go. A warm welcome back to any return visitors. So, what is life all about? Let's get deep for a moment. Let's not talk about the weather. Let's dive deep. What is life all about? Well, one perspective that's really interesting to think about is that life is about giving and receiving. And when I've reflected on my life, what I've come to notice is that all day long, especially with other people, what I'm doing is I'm giving and receiving. I'm giving things to people, whether that be, and a lot of times what we're giving is words. And then I'm receiving things from people. A lot of times what that is words. And so as I've reflected more and more, but it can also be activities and gifts and ideas, and it can be many things, but all throughout the day we're giving and receiving. And I never took it seriously, the fact that a lot of what we do as human beings is we give and we receive, I mean we listen or take in words. Now, why is this important? Why even talk about such a deep subject? Well, because words are ideas, and ideas have a profound impact, a very profound impact on our lives. For example, I've told this story before, but it's very, very, very profound. I went on a retreat once where the whole purpose of the retreat was to watch your mind and watch your thinking. And at the end of the retreat, it was the day to check out. And I was walking to the front desk to check out, and there were two people at the front desk, two receptionists. And I was literally walking right down in the middle, so I could very easily go to the left, person on the left, or person on the right. And then I watched this teeny tiny quiet thought arise. Oh, I've had nice interactions with the person on the right, and she looks more kind. And without even thinking, I just veered to the right and went and checked out with that person. Now, it wasn't that I had the thought. I took a moment and reflected, and then I decided, I'm going to go to that person. It was as soon as the thought came, then instantly the thought was acted on. So it's a very small example. But what I've come to realize is before every action I do, there's almost always a thought. And that thought is what moved me to action. In my example, I didn't really choose to go to the person on the right. The thought chose for me. If there was a choice, the choice was for me to listen to that thought. But I wasn't even present enough to listen to the thought and say yes or no. The thought came and automatically the action happened. And hence, thoughts are very, very powerful force in our lives. So we're going to return to this investigation in a moment. But now let's spend a little time taking in. I start off by saying life is about giving and receiving. Now let's spend a little time receiving some divine energy and reflecting on all of this. So when I was a lot younger, I had a friend. We'll call him Howie. Wasn't his name, but and so our families were good friends and would spend a lot of time together. And Howie and I had grown up together, and we were good friends. And they would come visit us. We'd come visit them and stay at their house. And we lived about an hour and a half away. But it was something we did quite often. We were just a part of each other's families, basically. And so one time I went to visit Howie and his family, and he was at school. I guess I'd taken the day off, or maybe my school was out that day. And so I went and played with a neighborhood kid. It's so much fun. So much fun. And then when Howie came home from school, and we're just hanging out and talking, and I said, "Oh, I played with Joe." And he said, "Oh, Joe is and used a nasty word, which I'm not going to use, but an insulting word. And I was just in shock. I didn't know what to think of that. I'd never heard that word, but I knew I could feel the bad, that it meant something bad. And I was very confused because I was like, "What? But I had a nice time and I like him." And I may have even said such, and Howie was like, "No, he's a blank," nasty word. And I was quite shocked, and I didn't know what to. And then I started to think, the thought came, but I like Joe, but so there must be something wrong with me. So, I didn't take it in that moment. I thought, oh, there must be something wrong with me. I didn't dwell on it for the rest of my life, and so it's a simple story. But the thing is, Bruno Groening pointed out that all of our problems stem from listening to other people. By listening, I don't believe he literally means just listening to their words, but literally taking in what they say as true. So I took in what my friend said as true. That, oh, this kid, Joe, there's something bad or wrong with him. It's like I believed Howie over my own experience, that Joe was a good kid and nice and kind, and I had fun. And then to boot, after that, a negative thought came my way. Well, there must be something wrong with me. And so I listened to that thought. Now, again, this didn't create a major neurosis, but it had an impact in that moment. And again, it's a very, very small example. But Bruno Groening called us to not, and in that moment, kind of what I did is I followed Howie, meaning I took what he said as true. And that is what Bruno Groening absolutely called us to not do, to follow God and to listen deeply inside ourselves. He said, which is where God lives, so that we can determine what's true. Now, luckily, I didn't listen to Howie, and I went and played with Joe again, and I had fun, and so I didn't fully follow Howie. But what if I had? That would have been tragic. Someone had some insult in their mind that wasn't even true. And if I had listened, then I would have made life decisions based on this one wrong idea. So the example I gave here is very small, and the impact was very small. However, again, Bruno Groening said all of our troubles stem from listening to other people. And if we really reflect on our lives, I've reflected deeply on my life, and it's taken in so many untrue things and then acted on them. This can have much larger repercussions. For example, I have a friend who made a career choice based on his father's wishes. It wasn't what this person wanted at all. And it was quite a source of pain for him, because he entered into a profession, I don't want to go into too many details, but that was really not right for him. And I have another friend who made the decision of who to marry based on what their parents said. Very deeply regretted that. Very, very deeply regretted that. So this very simple idea of not following other people, but following God, I hope some of these examples can give people an opportunity to reflect on how important it is to not follow other people, but to strive to follow God. So let's spend a little more time taking in this good energy. So all of this is so important because the deeper I go into Bruno's teachings, this idea of giving and receiving energy, thoughts, and words, it's really one of the fundamentals of what it is to be a human being. So the goal is to always be receiving from God and then sharing that in some way, shape, or form. Remembering that God is goodness and love and peace and health, and to be aligned with that. And it's so easy, thanks to the internet, to just take in all sorts of yuck, all sorts of negativity. And there's this idea that, I'm retraining myself to realize that everything has a consequence. Every thought, every word, every deed. And that includes watching something or listening to something is an action. It's a taking in. And the question is, what am I taking in? I'm not saying if you watch a negative video that it's going to destroy you. And I'm really reflecting on every thought, every action. And in this case, every word from other people and every visual or word I take in over the internet, it has an impact. It absolutely has an impact. And be mindful of that. But also to be mindful about what I put out, the words I speak. So Bruno Groening called us to reflect on every action, every deed, every thought. He said, consider every word and every sentence that you speak and every thought that you take in, whether it is worthy to be taken up. And consider everything quite carefully, whether you have acted properly. Call yourself to order, meaning to God. Censure yourself. I've always wanted to look up the word censure. I believe it means to deeply review. Not censor, which means to shut down. But I believe censure is to deeply. Oh. Well, I have to look up the German word because Bruno didn't speak English. But what it means is the word censure means to rebuke something that's bad or wrong. So if I'm I have to look at the German. The translation can sometimes be very poor sometimes. So I just want to put that aside because I don't even want to talk about it until I see the German. So let's read the first part again. Consider every word and every sentence that you speak and every thought that you take in, whether it's worthy to be taken up. And consider everything quite carefully, whether you have acted properly. Call yourself to order, meaning to God. So Alfred Hausp, who knew Bruno Groening well, said that in that time in Germany, there was this attitude, there was this joke. Well, at least thoughts are tax-free, meaning that, you can just have a thought and it's no big deal. Like life was really hard after the war, and so it was kind of this joke. But Alfred Hosp said that was completely contrary to what Bruno Groening taught. That Bruno taught that thoughts are forces, and I've given a couple examples. Some of them small, with me making the decision in the hotel, listening a little bit to my friend and feeling like there was something wrong with me. And actually, I was a little scared to go hang out with that boy the first time after my friend spoke, or said more accurately, after I listened somewhat to my friend. Like, is it okay to hang out with this person? And then some bigger ones where someone said, hey, you should do this as a profession. Hey, you should marry this person. And the words are nothing but spoken thoughts. And that person took them in and didn't see if they were true, and then acted on them. So I'm going to begin wrapping down. We human beings have the very bad habit, which I'm working on breaking. I made a lot of progress. Still plenty of progress left, of dwelling on what's negative. Now, I'm not saying to ignore the negative. If there's a problem, to face it and seek a solution, but not to dwell on it and not to incessantly talk about it. It's very bad for our health and for other people's health. So let's continue to take in this good energy, call ourselves to order. We can even reflect, for me, it's still the morning, but I can reflect on my morning. Have I behaved properly this morning? And there's a couple choices in hindsight that, I wish I'd done something. I wish I'd done something differently. Let's reflect on our internet viewing habits, and let's reflect on our listening habits. Do we let other people just kind of dump their negativity on us? It's not good for us, and it's not good for them. So I wish everyone a very... Oh, hi, Michael. Thanks for saying hello. So I'd like to wish everyone a very, very beautiful day, a mindful day. And it's still a holy season, friends. It's the day after Christmas. According to Bruno Groening, this special season, this grace, continues for another until January 6th. So we have another 11 days of a very special spiritual opportunity. So during this time, let's be really mindful what we take in, who we listen to. Let's do that always. Let's do that always, but especially during this special season that can really make good use of this precious time. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. Thanks for saying hi forever. Have a beautiful, beautiful day, and take care. Much love.